In the same way that truth comes into this world, I think other things come into this world in sinister ways.
So, Joe, I mean, we hear ideas of the fallen ones and certain
Yep.
bloodlines, and ideas that these elites, these controllers, may be something other than human, or a type of human that we're just not aware of, that we can conceive
Yeah.
of, and it's, to me, it's not a crazy concept to think that we may have what appears to be humans maybe acting as humans, but are anything other, and because
And not
to
very.
perpetrate,
Oh, go
can a
ahead. I'm
human
sorry.
could a human perpetrate such a lie to humanity, right? How could a human deceive their fellow humans in such a way, right, brother?
Well, and that's just the thing, is that when I get up in the morning, I just naturally go about my day. I don't have any malicious intent, and I don't have I don't want to deceive people. I don't get up in the morning thinking that I want to take something from somebody else, or any of these other things. Then these things happen. There's malicious people, but on a scale to deceive the world, I don't think that there is. And this is something that I learned from the Apostle Paul. And I was actually going to make a video. My next live stream I was going to make, or I probably will still, but I think I don't know, I might title it something like the hardest part of the Bible to believe, or the hardest verse in the Bible to believe. Because almost nobody believes it. And we're talking about these, they might look like people, or playing a human role or whatever, but they're not actually people the way that we are. And where do I go? I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I always have a hard time with titles of videos, but something like the hardest verse to believe. And the Apostle Paul, when he wrote to the Ephesians, everybody knows this verse. We struggle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world. And there's other ways that it's, translated or whatever. But I like to go to Bible Hub, and I like to look at the words in the Greek or the Hebrew, and just look at the words, and just to get a better idea of what, is being translated to what we read in the King James or whatever version we're reading. But it says, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. That's what the King James version says. But what it says, like those Greek words, it says cosmic powers of evil in the heavenly realm. That's who we're struggling against. And so the idea of me being a malicious person, and like I'm going to go out to deceive someone, I'm not like that. Are you? You're not like that. And what I would challenge everyone to do is just to consider other people to be very much the same as yourself. I don't think that there's a group of elite people that rule the world from behind the scenes. Okay, we know that about the Rockefellers, and we know about the banking, and we know about all that stuff. Nobody denies that stuff exists, but those people don't run the world. They run big things in the world, or, the Economic Forum and all these people, they have influence in this world, or you could call it power. But that's not the kind of power that can hide this, that doesn't match the scope of what we've discovered in these recent years. It just doesn't. It to me, and I'm saying that, say 6 years ago, I didn't think this way. I didn't understand. I didn't believe what Paul told the Ephesians.
Right.
And when I mean, even if it's hard to believe, but if I consider it that way, then you're like, well, then who's the enemy? Who's doing the deceiving then? Is it, oh, you're saying these human people, but they're not humans? Well, I think it's very there's one group of people that every single one of us that believes in a flat earth or doesn't believe the globe has question is very questionable to every single one of us, and those would be astronauts. There's
Right.
only been like 570 people in all of time that have apparently left the earth, left the
Mm-hmm.
air, you know what I'm saying, gone out of the place where we all have lived our whole lives. And to me, I like what Austin from Melodome says about the human body, and I think Dave Weiss says the similar thing. The human body exists here.
Right.
I don't think it exists out there.
And the point that I'd like to highlight, and I'm so glad you're expressing this, is that oftentimes when we present the globe lie to, let's just say, your average person, okay, oftentimes they will experience some type of cognitive dissonance or confirmation bias because likely they can't perceive the magnitude of the lie, because they'll, like you were saying, they'll project their own humanity onto others and say, how could this lie be perpetrated at such a magnitude, or even more, who would ever attempt to even perpetrate such a lie, and for what reason? But with the understanding that you're presenting here is that, like you said, you didn't even have this understanding as much as a few years ago, but now you realize, just as I do, plain as day, is that the enemy is likely something other than human, right? And once you can remove yourself from a secular type of paradigm, look at this reality for what it may be through a lens, through an unindoctrinated lens, you may be able to start to understand who these spirits and principalities may indeed be. And once you can look through that filter and that paradigm, the magnitude of the lie starts to make more sense. So I really enjoy your perspective on this topic in terms of that, because it helps us wrap our minds around how such a huge lie that's been likely 500 years in the making at least, and I like to say this to people, Joe, is that the globe and heliocentric model is not bad science. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
It was a lie. It was a lie and a deception from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad science.
You're bringing up something that I think is really important. This is something that I've been learning, and I don't know how to say it. I've been learning to accept an understanding, and I get a lot of it from old books, really old books. But that's because these, like the Book of Enoch, he describes so clearly seeing these flames of fire. He went to this place of darkness. He was taken there by angels, and this was in chapter 17, if anyone's interested. But he went to this place of darkness, and he saw the ones that were there were like flaming fires, or flaming fire. And then it says, or Enoch said that they could appear as humans when they wished, though. Like they could appear as human when they wished, or as men. I shouldn't say human, I should say men, because I think that's what he said. But so that makes me think right there. I'm like, okay, with these flaming fires, they're spirits of some kind, but they can manifest it as people. That's scary. But right as he's it's the next chapter, he's seeing the treasures of the winds, and he's just seeing a lot of these heavenly things. And he goes to this place that he was kind of fearful of, and he saw these 7 stars there, and they were bound there. And he was asking the angel, why are they bound here? What's going on? And what are they here for? And the angel says, oh, this is a prison for the stars and the host of heaven.